By the world's finest surgeons to drive the fastest car ever designed, and nothing can stop him now. Death Race 2000, rated R.
So Death Race 2000, for many of you who likely don't know, is a dystopian action thriller which is set in the distant year of 2000. The citizens of America are getting ready to witness the 25th annual Transcontinental Road Race, which is the most popular sport in America. Racers must travel from the East Coast to the West Coast as fast as they can, but time is not the main winning factor. Instead, the main way to earn points is by running over as many civilians as they can along the way. The movie came out in 1975, directed by Paul Bartel, who's most known for directing movies such as Death Race 2000 and other movies. So the movie stars David Carradine, who you most likely know as William from Quentin Tarantino's classic film Killian William. And playing the main rival is someone who I did not expect to see in this movie, Machine Gun Joe, played by Sylvester Stallone, who you obviously know from many iconic roles from movies such as Spy Kids 3D and Ants. So basically the premise of the movie is that after the year 1979, the United States is facing a major economic and overpopulation crisis, and in comes the Transcontinental Road Race, where racers are rewarded for running over as many people as they can, which is really just to serve as population control. So each racer is paired with a navigator. They also have their own high-octane, high-powered vehicle. And each racer also puts on this wrestler-esque persona and theme, so stuff like cowboys, there's Romeo and Juliet, there's Nazis, but we don't give a shit about them. There's only one racer that I care about, and his name is Frank.
It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
So the character that we follow throughout most of the movie is Frankenstein, the most feared racer throughout the nation. Damn near indestructible. No matter how times he's been smashed, butchered, mutilated, he simply refuses to die. So many of his limbs and organs have been disposed of and replaced, he can hardly even be considered the man he once was, like that boat paradox. His black mask being the only thing shielding the horror of what remains of his face, and no living soul has even caught a glimpse of what hides behind the... Oh. Never mind. So Frankenstein is really just one of several previously trained agents who are assigned by the government to participate in the race, often fated to die and be replaced. Why they do this, I don't really know. I kind of forgot, or they just didn't really mention it. But Frankie's pissed, and he's out for blood. While his motivations are unclear throughout most of the film, it is revealed that he wants to win the race in order to have a chance to assassinate the president. Since the winner is given the chance to shake the president's hand, Frankenstein decides to use a hand-shaped grenade to blow up the president. However, Franklin isn't the only one who's trying to put an end to the races.
Oh my god! Type shit.
So we're introduced to the Resistance, which are a band of working class people who are trying to bring an end to the havoc caused by these events. And we see their attempts to end it throughout the entire movie. And these people are fucking bumbling idiots. And they fight back in the goofiest ways possible. They will use the most roundabout way to essentially just end up blowing up the racers. And there's even a scene where they make a literal fucking Looney Tunes Wile E. Coyote fake tunnel trap that one of the racers ends up going through and falling off a cliff and exploding. One of them dresses up as Frankenstein, only to get run over by him. I think the plan was that the imposter was just supposed to like replace him. Also, these people seem to have like access to pretty much any sort of like explosive or machine, but I guess they just don't have like knives or guns. If they're trying to like kill the racers, that would be way more like effective. There's one scene where one of them jumps into the racer's car and starts like gently holding her neck in an attempt to strangle her. It's just like, you could have just like shot her or stabbed her and, you know, got the job done, but instead just gets thrown out of the car and she slowly backs up over a landmine. Also, these people are just fucking straight up incompetent. There's one where two guys build a barricade in the middle of the road and hide behind it, only for the Nazi woman to plow right through it, even though she just broke through the barricade, so it wasn't gonna work anyway. There's a guy flying a plane who's dropping bombs at Frankenstein, and then he fucking flies straight through a cliff. All the while there's another car that's chasing Frankenstein, only to fall off the road and flip over. Fortunately, he was able to make it out unscathed. Oh. For the most part, the movie revolves around the tension between Frankenstein, Annie, and Machine Gun Joe. For most of the movie, Annie and Frankenstein are kind of unsure of what each other's motives are. There are some scenes where it looks like she's conspiring with Joe against Frankenstein, but it turns out she just tricked him into taking the wrong directions, which later leads to a pretty funny scene where Joe tries to strangle Annie before Frankenstein just starts slapping him around the room. But eventually it is revealed that Annie is the granddaughter of Tamanisa Payne, who's the leader of the resistance, and her plan was to pose as his navigator, only to eventually replace him and get a chance to assassinate the president herself. But once they realize that they're on the same team, they decide to just work together. So there's a scene that's very weird, but it's also kind of important. Right before that plane scene that I brought up, Frankenstein gives Annie a flask that was laced with some sleeping medicine. He did this so that she wouldn't freak out during the plane attack.
I slipped you a 30-minute sleep X. Didn't want you doing something back there we would both regret.
Which apparently he knew was gonna happen, because I guess he had like a fucking Final Destination premonition or something. This happening is important because the pilot sees her unconscious and just assumes that she's dead, and she tells her grandmother that she died.
Annie's dead, Mrs. Payne. He must have killed her. Now I'm really gonna let him have it.
So this will be relevant in a little bit. What the fuck? What's this dickhead doing here? So towards the final stretch of the race, Frankenstein and Machine Gun Joe are neck and neck. And during this, Annie gets the bright idea of taking Frankenstein's grenade hand and just dropping it into Machine Gun Joe's car. Fucking, come on. It's right there! Okay. So now Joe's out of the picture, which is kind of funny because now at this point, it wasn't even a matter of getting to the finish line first or running over as many people as you can. It was more just a matter of not dying in order to win the race. So anyway, but now they have to come up with a different plan since Frankenstein's original idea of blowing the president has just gone out the window. So we now approach the end of the race and we are welcomed by this absolute fucking panic-inducing disaster of a song. The car pulls up to the stage with the president standing atop. Frankenstein steps out of the car. He slowly makes his way up to the top towards the president, ready to give him a shake in the hand. And then, oh shit! So it turns out the new plan was for Annie to just sneak up disguised as Frankenstein and stab the president, only to be shot by her own grandmother. When I first saw this movie, I was really confused why she would shoot Frankenstein when the president is standing right next to him, because I feel like that would be more productive. But then I kind of remembered, oh yeah, she thought he killed her granddaughter, so she's out for revenge, grandma sicko mode. But even still, I don't really know why she wouldn't just take the opportunity to shoot the president and just end the race. So Frankie, who's still in the car, uses the chaos as an opportunity to turn the car into high gear and charge straight into the stage, knock down the stage, and immediately killing the president. So now the president is dead, Frankenstein is crowned the new president of the United States, because I guess instead of going to prison for that, you are just rewarded as being the new president. So I guess this movie is kind of revolving around Tim Allen's The Santa Claus Rules or some shit. But he becomes the president, marries Annie, who's not dead, and officially brings an end to the race. And then he runs over a guy and they live happily ever after. The end. So as goofy as this movie was, it was still a pretty like fun movie. Like there were some things that were like actually pretty cool, some things that were so ridiculous that it just became entertaining. It was actually a pretty influential film, with its biggest impact most likely being the inspiration for George Miller's Mad Max series.
Mad Max.
Funny enough, Mad Max came out the year of 1979, which was when the whole like crisis happened. It's really weird because this movie is supposed to be kind of like a futuristic dystopian, even though it literally just looks like a regular 70s, like mid-70s city and stuff like that. The only scene that looks somewhat futuristic is the beginning scene where the race starts. There's just a single matte painting of like this retro futurism city. That's literally it. Like there's nothing else that's really like futuristic or sci-fi other than that. There was also a rebooted series in 2008 starring Jason Statham.
You sure are lucky a driver like me just happened to turn up in your prison.
Oh, I'm more than lucky.
And was supposed to be a direct sequel, I think, called Death Race 2050, which looks even more outdated than the original movie. But who knows, maybe I'll look at those and talk about them someday. But anyway, that is all that I had to say about this movie, and I hope to talk about some more other weird movies that I've seen or plan to see. There's a lot that I have in mind. One of them I really want to review is Bloodsport, A Boy and His Dog, Time Cop. Hopefully I have the motivation to make those videos, and in the meantime, stay safe and look both ways before crossing the street, because who knows, maybe Machine Gun Joe is heading your way. But thanks for watching. Bye.